Capricorn, this is your April 2013 forecast. We're going to start off the month with quite a bit of planetary influence in your fourth house. Your fourth house is the house of home, property, family. So you should have a lot of focus on the home. Maybe you're buying or selling, maybe you're leasing a property, or maybe you're even redesigning or working on the home in some way. But there's going to be a lot of focus. You're going to be communicating a lot, planning a lot around it, and working on the home or property in some way, or just enjoying a lot of time with your family as well. From mid-month to the third week of April, there's a shift in focus from home to your fifth house of fun, pleasure, activities, sports, children. So this is kind of a really nice month for you. You go from a focus on home but a little bit more introverted, not as social. And then you move into a more social aspect where you're out socializing. Maybe there's some romance involved. Children come into play. There's going to be a lot more focus on activities, whether it's sports and hobbies, and things like that. There is a new moon on the 10th of April in your fourth house. So new moons tend to signify the beginning of something, and so maybe you'll be starting a project around your home at that time. The 10th of the month might be, maybe your loan went through on your mortgage and you find out that you can move into this home that you've purchased, or you'll start to lease a property, or you'll start some kind of construction project around the home. So that's kind of a time that tends to signify the beginning of something, whether it's a project, but it should be related to something with regards to your home or family at that time. Mercury will start off the month in your third house. Mercury is the planet of communication, and the third house is the house of communication and short trips. So you might find that you are going to take a short trip, or you're talking about making plans with someone about making that short trip, or there's just going to be a lot of communication at that time, whether it's social networking or mail or email. Maybe you're writing, you have a writing project going on at that time, so publishing, anything along those lines. There would be a lot of focus on that with regards to communication. And then mid-month, Mercury moves into your fourth house of home, family, and property. So we'll switch to, again, maybe there's just a lot of talk about, maybe you did just move in, you're telling people about this property that you have, or there's a lot of communication maybe with someone that's doing the construction on your home, and you're working out a new design, things like that, for the new project that you just started. Saturn will be retrograde in your 11th house. Your 11th house is a house of networking and social engagements. It's again a very extroverted type part of your chart, and Saturn is interesting. Saturn's sort of a very restrictive planet, and it tends to create hardships. Now, when it's going retrograde, which it will be for a few months, so this might not affect you right away, and it really depends on what other planetary influences you have in your natal chart. So if you want to check that out, I suggest you know where your planets are in your natal chart, and then that can give you a better indication of how and when you'll be affected by this influence. But I'll give you an idea. So Saturn retrograde, basically when it goes retrograde, it kind of forces you to look at things that you may have swept under the rug. before. So some issues or concerns that you may have had with regards to maybe you're involved in some kind of networking group or some kind of institution, and there have been some concerns that you've kind of just brushed under the rug and thought you wouldn't deal with right then. Sometimes Saturn will come in and sort of force you to revisit those and reevaluate those, so that you can really move forward in a better path. But it's not always a fun influence. And like I said, you will only need to worry about it when it kind of affects some of your natal planets. So it's always a good idea to know what those are and to see if that is going to take place or when it will take place. But it's just something to be aware of. If you see this coming up in your life, that's what it is. It's Saturn, and just kind of forcing you to look at some issues, kind of revisit some old issues there. Pluto is in your first house, and Pluto will go retrograde as well on the 13th of April. Pluto is a planet of structure and death and rebirth, and that's not necessarily a literal way meaning, but more of a figurative, like the ending of something